Maps that are fascinating. Current state of global air traffic. 3 distinct gaps are noticeably restricting movement. Okay, this is crazy to visualize, but yeah, you can see that Ukraine, Iraq, Iran, and those surrounding areas, obviously Israel, all international travel are avoiding those locations. Also, if you're wondering what this gap is, I believe it's the Himalayas, which are just difficult to fly over. But separate to these terrible global conflicts, it just blows me away how much international air travel there is. Look at Europe. Look at North America. That is literally mental. What's that tiny little plane over in Canada? They're just having a lovely day out, aren't they? Map of Ireland, but it's a phone. Well, that is literally the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I want one. It doesn't even need to be plugged in. I just want it on the wall and I can just grab it like that. That's probably a thing. I've never wanted anything more. Where am I putting my Ireland phone? Realistically, it's got to be over here so I can grab it and call it a kai. Do you drive on the left or the right? So in the UK, you drive on the left. And a lot of things in the UK also ended up becoming a thing globally. So I always think of most of the world driving on the left. But actually, road position is an instance where we are massively in the minority. Like, that is so much more blue than red. And most of the areas that do drive on the left were once colonized by the UK, which obviously makes sense. But these road positions are something I need to remember for Geoguessr. Polish economy is almost equal to the economy of all other countries in blue combined. So Poland, 980 billion, just short of a trillion, fair play. But then Ukraine, Belarus, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Moldova, Romania, Bulgaria all add up to a very similar amount, which is pretty mental. There are millions of people in these countries. Obviously, populations in these countries fluctuate massively, so it doesn't necessarily mean that for the individual, every country in blue is not financially well off. Countries within range of Israel's nuclear missiles. Brilliant news. Okay. Countries where over 90% of the population can speak English. All right, let's see if I can name every country. Surely I can. So we've got United Kingdom, Ireland, Iceland, Norway, and that's Svalbard, which is part of Norway. Is it called Svalbard? Svalbard. I was close. Oh, I can get there for 400 quid. Anyway, we've also got USA. Ooh, 90% of the population can speak English. I don't know. Is that Suriname? It's Guyana. Did not know that. Okay, Suriname's the one next to it. Suriname, I was thinking Spanish. I just didn't know where else to go with. Is that Zimbabwe? It is. Phew. Then we've got New Zealand, Australia, and who's that fella? Singapore? Yes, it is. Okay. So 90% pretty high. It'd be interesting to see 50%. I reckon there'd be a lot more blue. Oh, wait, there's a little fella down there. That's Belgium. I know that one. 90% of people in Belgium can speak English. Fair play. Sweden is apparently at 89%, so still ridiculously high, but not high enough to get on the map. 5G access worldwide. All right, so pretty much all of populated Europe has access to 5G now. I mean, I live in the UK. I don't consistently have 5G. I do most of the time these days, but as soon as I'm anywhere rural, it does jump back down to 4.3. India's doing pretty strong for 5G these days. A lot of China, Japan, Korea, all those places. Australia, in terms of population, most of the country does have access now. And same with USA as well, but you can see such large regions not yet got 5G access. The color is the date, so we can see that just recently in 2023, India has been hooked up with 5G access. Parliament seating arrangements worldwide. Ooh, this is an interesting kind of map. So over in the UK, we have the Westminster seating arrangement, which is also what Canada follow apparently, and a few African countries. Most places, I guess it's kind of even between classroom, which is interesting, where everyone's just in a big group, and then also semicircle, which makes sense. I'm trying to think, is there an obvious one that's better? I guess circle is quite nice because it makes everyone feel equal, right? But perhaps visibility is a bit of an issue. It's interesting to think about. Google translates English accent. Oh, accent of the English text-to-speech feature. Not something I've ever thought about. All right, let's hear the difference. So this is hello in British.
Hello.
Does sound pretty British. Let's hear the American one.
Hello.
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 Hello. All right, now slower.
Hello.
Hello. And American.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, I want to hear the Australian text-to-speech. I can't access it. I'm so sad. When did every state legalize gay marriage? I mean, it's kind of mental to think that something as normal as gay marriage has been legalized within the lifespan of myself and basically everyone watching this video. 2004 is the earliest one. So that was over in, I think that's Massachusetts, but we can see the most recent 20 2015. That's the dark colors, but also a lot of it is black. Like, that's probably the majority, and that is forced by Supreme Court. So I suppose that means that the councils within the states didn't want to legalize it, but I guess the country as a whole forced them to. Really mental to think about. I don't think it was much different in the UK, though. It wasn't really much earlier. 2013? I thought it was a bit earlier than that. Literally, I've been doing YouTube videos for as long as gay marriage has been legal. That's just outrageous. Oh, the Great Fire of London overlaid on modern London. That's a ginormous area. Really able to visualize this, particularly because just a month ago on my other channel, I did a video walking all around London. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. And I actually did visit London Monument, which is built next to Pudding Lane, which is where the Great Fire first started. Highest temperature ever recorded in Europe as of June 2025. So in the UK, it was 40 degrees. So I'm pretty sure that was like, what, 2 years ago? That was horrible. I'm struggling now. I have a fan on behind me. I've got an aircon unit underneath. I cannot handle the heat at all. Currently, it is 24 degrees Celsius in here. And even that's too much for me. But where's the hottest location in Europe? So we've got a 45 degrees over in areas of Russia. But then I guess it's down when you get into the Mediterranean, which makes sense. So 47 degrees over in Spain. 48 over in Italy. Another 48 in Greece. But then Turkey, 49.5. Do we have anywhere higher? No, I think that's the highest one. Oh, I would not be able to handle that. Stairline, a train company planning to connect Europe by train, has a new map look. Thoughts on the map? So it's very simplified straight lines, kind of like the London Underground map. I like it. Looks nice to me. And I'd be well up for traveling from Glasgow to Kiev by train. That'd be unreal. Average European internet speed by country in 2024. Okay, so the fastest is that Romania? 232 for Romania. Fair play. And then the slowest, I think that's Greece at 39. So just recently, my internet's been upgraded, and it's about 150 or something these days. But for most of the time I've lived in this house, it's been at about 39. That's depressing. Why was my internet as slow as the slowest country in the entirety of Europe? It's not like I live in the middle of nowhere either. But yeah, generally speaking, good internet access is a positive thing, I think. And it is good to see that most of Europe out there is doing pretty well. Nationality-related idioms in Bulgarian. Ooh, okay. So there'll be a few kind of stereotypes and stuff. So apparently Bulgarians will say leaving the English way, which means to leave without saying goodbye. Now that's really interesting because the UK also have a phrase for that, but it's called an Irish goodbye. So it's interesting to think about Bulgaria getting that mixed up, you know, with the distance involved and stuff. Like a Swiss clock means to always be on time. That's a nice one. Empty like an Albanian bunker means to be dumb/brainless. Right, okay. To park like an Albanian truck driver means someone who's parked badly. To heat up like an Albanian radiator, a very dumb person needs time to understand. What are they kicking off at Albania for? I mean, as I keep reading them, they are kind of racist, right? I feel like England's done quite well here. Airports versus seaports. Ooh, we got a little pretty map. Let's enhance. All right, we see basically airports all over the world, apart from obvious places like the middle of the Sahara Desert, the Australian outback, and the sea. Yeah, that makes sense. And then in terms of seaports, surprisingly, they all bordered the sea. Yep, also makes sense. This map also quite a good way to show just how landlocked this area of Europe is. Like, that's a mental distance. Countries that have viable wild populations of lions, tigers, and leopards. Okay, so actually quite a lot of the east side of the globe. We see Africa have a lot of lions and leopards. You can see that Russia and surrounding areas like China have a lot of tigers and leopards. These areas around the Middle East have only leopards, but India is the only place to have all three: lions, leopards, and tigers. That's kind of crazy, you know? What do you call people from each US state? So they should be pretty obvious, right? So a person from Washington is a Washingtonian. Yep, makes sense. Oregonian. Yep. Californian. Nevadan. Are there any unusual ones? Yeah, Wyomingite. Okay, fair enough. Texan. I like Texan. Nice and easy. Wisconsinite. We've got another ite over there. Ooh, who's yeah? And that's Utah, right? Michigander? That's a Michigan person. Michigander's an unreal word. Rhode Islander. Okay, they got the ER. I like it. Connecticuter. It's quite difficult to say that one, but I'm all about a Michigander. That's unreal. Also, I believe I consistently mispronounce Michigan. I think I always pronounce it Michigan, and people like shout at me in the comments. I'm used to it. Someone's cat activity in my town. Whoa, that is an insanely elaborate route. Look at the distance. Look how tiny all the houses are. So this red zone, they have been to basically every single inch of it. That's kind of crazy, you know? How countries in Europe say mathematics. Okay, so in England, they say mathematics. In Wales, they say mathemateg. In Netherlands, they say viskunde. In Luxembourg, they say mathematic. In Germany, they say say mathematic. In Hungary, they say matematica. In Albania, they say matematiki. In Italian, they say matematica. In Spain, they say matematicas. In France, they say mathematiques. And in Greece, they say... okay. Kangaroo versus human population in Australia. Wait, so... how many kangaroos are there? The yellow region is more kangaroos than humans. So this is Queensland, and there are 22 million kangaroos compared to just 5 million people. And then in this area of New South Wales, it's 14 million kangaroos compared to 8 million people. But this is the only area right at the bottom of southern Australia and Tasmania where it's the other way around. So Tasmania has about 30,000 kangaroos compared to 500,000 people just on Tasmania. How are there so many kangaroos still kicking about? That's actually crazy, you know? They're selling cars in 2024. Ooh, okay. So Tesla taken over a lot of this area of Europe. This is 2024. I think it would probably be quite a bit lower in 2025. Oh, it actually shows the specific car as well. So it was the Tesla Model Y, the Skoda Octavia for a bunch of these countries. We've got a Renault Clio, Toyota Corolla doing very well, Hyundai Tucson over in Ireland, which is an interesting one, Toyota Yaris down in Greece. Ooh, and then we've got, I don't know what this brand is, but it's a Stonic. And then BMW only on there once, and that is Belgium, I guess. Wait, earlier, did I say Belgium instead of Netherlands? Oh, no. All right, I've acknowledged that. You can delete your comment. Azerbaijan, a critical corridor in the sky. Okay, so because I presume people are having to avoid areas around here and around here, it means so many planes are just traveling via Azerbaijan, which is quite interesting. Do you have to pay to fly over a country? I mean, you obviously have to get permission, but do you have to pay anything? It is farther from Perth to Sydney than from Paris to Moscow. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. Australia is very, very large place. Actual size of countries on the world map. This reminds me of my most popular video on this channel. Yeah, because of the way this map's is projected, stuff along the top and the bottom, particularly the top, is seen as way bigger than it actually is. So look how shriveled up Canada is, and Greenland too. And even Norway, Sweden, and Finland, they are quite a lot bigger on your standard map, but they're only little. The word soap reached Aboriginal Australia before the Europeans did. I don't really understand that, right? Because it isn't the word soap. That says yabu or jabu. Are we saying the invention of soap reached Aboriginal Australia before Europeans? What do we mean here? People here are getting confused that the map is about the word soap and not the actual invention. Oh, I don't know what's going on. Alright, we'll end there because I'm getting confused. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. Please do click that like and that subscribe button if you are new here. Would very much appreciate that. And I will see you all later.